when my wife and I were planning our trip to the Transylvania area of Romania, we knew there were a lot of castles to visit and a lot of medieval towns to explore, and yet we were blown away by what we saw here in Romania because it's unlike anywhere else we have ever visited. And we never expected to see something like this. In this video, we are going to tell you the 5 reasons we think Transylvania is so special and also give a few practical tips about this area. My name is Ryan, my wife Emily and I are the Snail Travelers. Number 5. Sighişoara Towers. Just look at how beautiful this town is in the video clip here. Sighişoara truly is one of the most special things about Transylvania. It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and for good reason, it absolutely deserves this designation. One of the special features of this town is the many fortification towers that you will find in various areas of Sighişoara. These towers provided a unique way of protecting the city because each was designed to protect just a specific area, not the entire town. So if one of these towers was captured by invaders, it didn't necessarily mean that the entire city would fall. Probably the most famous tower in Sighişoara is this one you're looking at here, the famous clock tower and the icon of the city. It was built in the 13th century, and it does indeed have its own unique charm that distinguishes it from the other towers. If you're planning a visit to Transylvania, take the time to come to Sighişoara and visit these towers. You'll be glad you did, believe me. Number 4. Bran Castle. I know a lot of people would actually rate this as the number 1 reason why Transylvania is so special, and I can totally understand this because many people come to Romania just to see this castle. It is also known as Dracula's Castle, although I have to say that this is a bit controversial, and I'm going to talk about this more in our next video. But whether or not it's Dracula's castle, I would say is irrelevant because this castle is spectacular regardless. The inside of the castle will give you a glimpse into the lives of Romanian royalty. Let me warn you that this castle is so popular and you'll have plenty of company if you decide to come visit. But don't let that dissuade you because this castle truly is one of the most impressive sights in Transylvania. Number 3. Braşov Town. If you've done any research into visiting Transylvania, then you probably already figured out that this was going to be on our list. It truly is one of Romania's most beautiful cities. It has so much history and so much culture. Brașov is located in the mountains, so you get the beautiful mountain landscape surrounding this medieval town. The Black Church is one of the most famous structures here in Brașov. I wondered why it was called the Black Church because it isn't black in color. I found out that in the 1600s, there was a fire that turned the walls black. We enjoyed attending an organ concert inside this church. And look at all the birds that enjoyed it too. Brașov is also where you will find the narrowest street in Europe. Although visiting this street is a little bit overrated if you ask me. It just looks like a narrow alleyway, but a lot of people do come here to take a look at it. And yeah, so I told you about the Black Church and the narrow street, but really, I don't think there is just one particular feature here that is a must-see. To me, it's really about absorbing the ambience, not about sightseeing at monuments or particular buildings. Come here for yourself and you will know why we think this is something that makes Transylvania so special. Number 2. Sibiu. This medieval town is one of the best preserved in all of Transylvania. It has an interesting nickname, the City of Eyes, because, well, just look at the rooftops of many of the buildings. They do indeed look like eyes that are looking over the town, don't you think? They remind me of the talking houses on the Muppet Show. The heart of the town is the large plaza in the center, where you will find locals and tourists alike admiring the surrounding buildings. The beautiful churches and cathedrals really do a lot to add to the ambience of this place, that's for sure. And when you come here, please, I beg you, do not rush around trying to see everything in the guidebook in a few hours. Take your time, soak in the atmosphere, Picture yourself living here back in the 12th century among the shopkeepers, and you will be impressed beyond belief with this amazing town. And if you have extra time in Sibiu, head to Europe's largest outdoor museum. Here you will get a glimpse of what traditional life has been like in Romania. It kind of reminded me of a Romanian version of Little House on the Prairie, and we enjoyed our visit here. Practicalities. Okay, before I get to our number one thing that we think makes Transylvania so special, I'm going to take time to provide a little bit of practical information. Although Brașov does have an airport, you're probably better off flying into Bucharest, and it's an easy 2.5-hour train ride to get to Brașov from there. Transportation between Brașov and the places I've shown you, like Sighişoara and Sibiu, for example, can be done with a mix of trains or buses. Getting around within towns in Transylvania is also very easy. There is Uber, there is Bolt, there are regular taxis, even in the smallest villages, but we prefer to use the buses and found them to be very convenient. They are mostly electric, run fairly frequently, and one of the buses goes all the way to Saturn. There is even a bus to the ski resort in the outskirts of town, and this bus has a bike rack so you can take your bike in the summer. It's easy to buy tickets from the vending machines with instructions in English, and when you get on the bus, you stick the ticket into the machine to verify that you paid for your tickets. Or you can pay with a card if you prefer. Let's talk prices next. We stayed in the apartment you are seeing here, and was the best apartment we've had in quite a while. It was in the outskirts of Brașov, not right in town, and cost us $45 per night, and that was during the peak season. The apartment had a huge and pleasant balcony. We had a view of the Brașov sign. The color scheme of the towels matched the color scheme of the wallpaper, which is very important to me. On the last day, we noticed the lights in the ceiling changed colors, and there was a very creepy figurine with weird legs and a decapitated head. I looked inside the little bowl to see if its head was in there, but it wasn't. The apartment is very close to Lidl, which is our favorite grocery store in the world. I was so excited about this, I almost bought a very stylish Lidl waist pack so that all of the citizens of Brașov could see how much I love Lidl, but in the end, I decided not to. I decided to buy Lidl socks instead. Don't worry about the language barrier here in Transylvania. It is the most touristy part of Romania, and the people are used to that. Transylvania is a great place for some hiking. We didn't get to do as much hiking as we planned. Even though we were there for a long time, we hit a stretch of really bad weather, either stormy or when the skies were clear, there was intense heat. Number 1. Sinaia. Not technically in Transylvania, but close enough. We knew the minute we entered this town that it was going to be number 1 on our list. There are 2 castles that are adjacent to each other that are not to be missed. Unfortunately, one of the 2 was undergoing refurbishment, so it didn't look nice and pretty, at least not on the outside, but what the outside was lacking was compensated for on the inside. The rooms in this castle felt very ornate and maybe just a little bit creepy, if you ask me, even a little bit more creepy than Dracula's castle. There are several areas of this castle that reminded me of scenes from the Haunted Mansion at the Disney parks. These castles were built in the late 1800s and early 1900s, with the finest craftsmen from all over Europe participating in its construction. One of Romania's most majestic monasteries is also here in Sinaia. One of the things that makes the monastery special compared to others is that it was designed to be both a place for monks to work and reside like a typical monastery, but also a fortified place of protection from any battles during times of war. And just by random chance, we happened to be here when there was a car race going on, and it was fun to see all of the people gathered along the streets of this town to watch the sports cars race up the mountain roads. Alright, like I already mentioned, we have more Romania videos on the way, so click that subscribe button. Here is a playlist with our collection of videos from all over the world, and down here is another video I think you'll enjoy. Thanks for traveling with us.